What's going on, peeps? Welcome back to another episode of MC2MC. It's your dude Superb.
Oh, Tom.
And we got a special guest in the building. He's smiling like the wind, boy.
I'm also Aaron.
Yes, he's also Aaron Martin of Okey Dokey. And he is Deep Tropics graphic designer.
Thank you. Creative director.
Creative director.
I like that title more.
Actually, you know what? I'm sorry, sir. I downplayed everything.
Thank you. Yes.
You just did. I'm sorry.
You did. I'm out of here.
It's like, I'm fuck off, everybody. I'm done for the day. Dude, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
Got some nice. Is that what is it, coffee?
That's coffee.
Iced coffee there. Okay. What
This
we got?
here is Alkaline Water, which I can't say is what you should be drinking. I just think it feels better.
Mm-hmm.
And activated charcoal, which is an adsorbative, if you want to get into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then shungite, which is a rock, if you want to get into it.
Interesting.
Okay, so I know about the activated charcoal, and I know about alkaline water. The shungite, or is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too much about that, but I know I mentioned on various episodes I was like a vegan for like 7 months.
I did vegetarian for 5 years.
Wow.
But then I climbed a mountain, and it ended. It was the Tetons.
Yeah.
And I was coming down the mountain, and I was like, no salad in the world will save me. And I saw these like little brown dots running around, and I was like, bison burger. And I had one.
Yeah, man. Mine was like
serious,
chicken
though.
and gravy.
When you broke the...
Yeah.
Not bad.
It was great.
I had chicken the next day.
Chicken the next day?
I had salmon the day after that.
Wow.
I had pork belly the day after that. I just went straight back.
Yeah, you just went
Yeah.
Yeah.
all over with the meats.
My body was loving it.
Yeah.
Really? So you didn't have like a reaction or anything?
all.
Most people kind of get upset stomachs and stuff. When you do
Most
that.
people think about that shit all the time.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would say.
No, okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just saying.
It's a mind over matter thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that stuff, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. All right, guys. We just got a little educational there with the drinks. So, yeah,
some.
man. Let's get right into it.
All right.
Smiling like the wind, boy. I love it, dude. He's smiling like the wind. Such a cool guy here. So,
Thank you. You guys are great.
thanks, man. You know, I try to be a stand-up citizen, man. You know.
Waveform. My levels look good over there.
Levels looking good.
So, are you a Nashville native, or how did you end up here in Nashville?
I'm from Monterey, Tennessee,
Monterey.
which is like an hour away. It's very small. It's, I think, at this point, 2,800 people.
Wow.
It's next to Cookeville, which is
I know
more
about Cookeville, yeah.
recognizable.
Yeah.
Let me see. I've lived here since 2011, February. I moved here after my dad got sick. He got cancer. He died. It's,
man.
no, it's why we're here talking. It's a good story.
Yeah, my sister passed from cancer, bro. I feel you, dude.
Well, hey, I feel you.
Yeah, man.
But I did have a little bit of time to be like, hey, life is not the way it should be right now.
Yeah.
So I was 20 years old, fresh off of maybe 9 months of LSD, into finding out, you know, like terminal illness was coming. So I was like, all right, wake up. And then by that point, I was kind of like, you know, I'm wasting your money on this civil engineering degree thing. It sounds terrible.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, the best thing we could do is get me on my way, you know. So I was like, all right, art, for whatever reason, that's what I'm doing. And I had nothing to base it on. I didn't draw anything really. But I was like, that's my feeling. I'm going to go for it. And we can make a deal there. Anyway, got into art school. He sent me on my way. I moved to Nashville. I just kind of jumped in, and I was hitting up bands, this was 2011, by the way. Like, everyone was desperate. I think that's why I got into art school, because they were Watkins, which is now dissolved and eaten up by Belmont, which technically means that I went to Belmont at this point, I think, right? So, thank you guys, whoever. Whatever, you know. But yeah, in these weird times, you know, there were house shows happening and bands were all cool with just really whatever. That's what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
nothing was cool in 2011. It was just, come on. So
Okay, I get that. Yeah, literally,
know,
like whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it really was. I mean, it really was. But anyway, I had like 15 or so bands respond to my messages, which were like, hey, I'm me. You don't know me. Here's some artwork. I did it for you. You don't know me. You can use it if you want to. But I was like, you have to play a show for me when I need you to. That's the deal. And again, 2011, everyone did it. So we were just off onto shows, and then yeah, that's how I got my start. It was just kind of, well, let's be real with this. I got my start being a hypochondriac.
Really?
You know what I mean? Recent death.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how it goes. You know, you're like stoned all night. You're just sitting there. I don't know if you guys feel this way, but sometimes when you smoke weed, you get that like heavy like X-ray blanket thing.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely
know?
get what you mean.
Every
little
single
warmth.
time I would be like, literally, I'm going to die here alone. Fuck this. And I would just like gun it to a friend's house, stay with them. I mentioned earlier there was a tag that said Aaron Martin sleeps on couches.
Yeah.
And that was hilarious to me because it was like nobody knew that I was just literally like could not be alone. You know, they were like, this dude's always partying. And it was just like, no, I need friends and I don't want to look for them. So I throw parties and here's friends.
Dude,
Thank
it's
God.
like some like Great Gatsby shit or something.
I don't know, but it
It's
worked.
Like you just felt this
2011.
throw these marvelous parties.
I will
Or-
tell you,
yeah.
like there is a lot of synchronicity to that stuff. I mean, one of the biggest ones is that year it was Halloween. It was 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Some friends and I had a party at this house that's no longer there.
Yeah.
It's in the parking lot area of right in front of 210 Jack.
Okay.
That big parking lot over there. There used to be a schoolhouse there, and it was huge. And I think Robert Plant owned the place, but I won't get into all that shit. Anyway, it was the oldest schoolhouse in Nashville. We were like, happy Halloween. And the way that the parties would go is I would just buy a bunch of kegs, and I would pay bands, and I'd be like, come, it's free. Because again, hypochondriac.
Yeah.
I was like, just come hang out with me.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, so anyway, so my sister for years, she's been like, she travels places, and every single time I've been like, hey, I've been hearing a lot about absinthe. Can you bring some back for me? Never did it for years. And then this one year, she's like, hey, I'm sorry about all the years of not bringing absinthe to you. Here's the biggest bottle you've ever seen. And it's like this big. And I've never drank absinthe before, okay? Anyway, I have like 7 or 8 bands playing. Music didn't stop until 6 in the morning the next day. I remember the cops showed up, and again, 2011, we don't live in the same place, but the cops showed up to this party, and there's already hundreds of people there. And this was like the peak of Facebook invites being a thing.
Yeah.
So anyone that got the invite was like, yep, here I go. And so I said, hey, we're going to have a fire. Bring firewood if you can. But that went out to like 1,000 people. So we had 1,000 people's worth of like, I'll bring some firewood.
What the fuck?
I bet that'll help. Yeah. And then I'm sitting here with a bunch of like Margot Price and her band, you know, those people. Ooh. Like, this is old, you know, literally they used to work at Turn Up Truck.
Yeah, dude.
Like, yeah. So anyway, I'm like, hey, I have absinthe. I've never had this before. And I'm like, none of us know how to drink it, you know?
Yeah.
And we're just passing it around and chugging it like it's whiskey. You're supposed to have like a little dip, you know?
Yeah.
Woo! So by this point, like, I'm pretty wasted, and I mean, not enough to where I couldn't talk, you know? So the cops show up, and I'm 21 years old at this point, and I'm just downed a bunch of absinthe, and I'm in like the 10 minutes before I'm about to just black out and be crazy. And I just remember the cops showing up and being like, whose party? And my friend Ellie, who was throwing it was her house, she was like, I'm not dealing with this, your party. And I was like, okay. And I grew up in Cookeville, Tennessee, where in high school we had numbers, which was like 200 people every day would show up to the same coffee shop every day, like high school kids. And we would drink there, we would smoke cigs and weed and stuff, because we knew from that one time that the cops tried to split us up that it was fucking chaos, you know? So after that one time that we all went, whoa, and ran around, and the cops were like, why did we do this, you know? After that, no one gave a shit. We would just be like, here's my 40 in my jacket. And which makes you feel like so well equipped for Nashville drinkity city, you know? It's like, you're like, I know how to do this shit. Yeah. And so anyway, I already was used to crowds, and we had a massive crowd. And I just remember the cops being like, whose fucking party? And I was like, it's my fucking party. And I'm like literally about to black out. And they're just like, what do you think we should do? And I'm like, looks like there's too many people here, guys. And they're just like, yeah, there's a lot of people. And I'm like, pretty awesome. And they're like, what do you think we should do? And I was literally like so caught off guard that they were asking me, a little kid me, just like, what do you think we should do with your big party? And I was just like, I think that you guys should like park across the street and put your flashies on. And if you want to try to bust people, have a great fucking time. But if you want to try to bust this up, like, you're fucked, you know? And they were just like, okay. So they scooted over. Anyway, what got us to this story? Oh, yeah, the synchronicity. Yeah. So, again, this bottle of absinthe I've waited for. And there's a lot of synchronicity to this, too. Like the trickster spirit or the the green man, you know? Mushrooms, whatever. There's, like, a lot of, like, the tricky green, like, here's some shit for you to understand kind of thing, you know, this archetype. And boy, I was just drinking a bottle of that. And I just remember, like, I'm like looking at the house at one point, and there's just people everywhere, like 900 people at this house.
It's like some Project X type shit.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
When I watch Euphoria and shit, I'm like,
dude.
that was every party. Fucking shut up. Seriously. Every party.
Ain't got
you
shit
know?
on us.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if that dude was being so mean to them at that party, one of us would have knocked him the fuck out. That's the other truth here. Like, that's the truth. So anyway, I'm looking at this house, and there's literally, like, there's a dude dressed up like Superman having a fist fight with a dude dressed up like a cop on the roof. And everyone's, like, laughing at him. And then there's people falling through, like, the railing on this porch, just, and we're all just laughing at him.
Oh, dude.
There's bands playing in the basement. And then I just remember, like, there was this van parked here, and again, I was like, bring firewood, and everyone did, so there's this massive just flame. And I just remember, like, I was, at this time, there was a video that was, like, super popular. It was called The Sexy Sax Man. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yeah, where he was, like, playing in malls and shit.
Oh,
Yes.
shit. Damn, that's
That
like
guy?
throwback as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yes.
was like 14 or some shit.
Right. So anyway, I'm like sitting at this party, and I'm passing this bottle around, and the cops are over there, and I'm just like, wow, this is crazy. I've been here for 6 months. Fucking did it. You know, I was like, friends, cool. You know, I can sleep at night with people to reach out to when I'm freaking out. You know,
Of it all.
it was a great thing. And I think, you know, owning up to the, like, shortcomings of a time is, like, really important. So, like, yeah, I was freaking out. Nobody knew. I knew, but who cares? But I look up, and there's this huge fucking fire going. And I just see this, like, silhouette of this person climb up on top of this van, and then all of a sudden, saxophone, and it goes, and literally someone had dressed up like the sexy sax man, looked identical, and could play the line like the best, and everyone lost it. And I was like, that is my spirit animal, that fucking person, you know. Years down the line, and this was the trickster, the little, this is for you, that person, that was what it was. This is for you, pay attention.
Yeah.
So, years down the line, you know, I've been in like I was in a band called Soul Cat for a little while that was like a Belmont thing. Came back to do art again, like started Okey Dokey, and I'm like, I've told this literal story like 12 times, and 1,200. And I get to the point where I'm like, and there the sexy sax man was, and that's when I knew that I'd fucking done it. This person I'll never know. You know?
Shouts out to Sexy Sax, man.
We know who that is now. It's my best friend Jeremy, who I literally had never known that about until like 6 years into our friendship.
Wow.
That he was the sexy sax man, and that he spent 2.5 months learning that line on saxophone because he didn't play saxophone. And that, like, literally when I was sitting there, like, I've arrived, my best friend was the fucking sax man in this flame silhouette, just like,
wow.
And yeah, like, the rollover of that experience, it just continuously grows. Like, I've literally met people who are like, yeah, I met my wife at that crazy party. And I'm like, oh, amazing. You're still out there.
Is there any footage of this party, man?
No, and
Damn.
the house is literally gone. It's not
Damn,
even there
dude.
anymore. Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yep.
Part of another era.
So that whole party was like an origin of like a lot of creativity.
Oh, yeah. It was like a lot of people, at least in that, I don't know. There's bubbles all the time. Like I'm observing.
Yeah.
I feel like a new bubble in Nashville of like just who the fuck are these guys?
Yeah.
I love them. You know.
No.
Every like 5 years it happens or whatever. From 2011 to 14 area is when just like literally every single night there was a house show. Mm-hmm. Every single night forever there's a house show. There's 3 of them. Warehouse show, something, every single night. And it was crazy because, you know, I had lived here 3 years or something,
point,
and
yeah.
Facebook was already giving me like here's your memories. And I was like, guys, hold on. Can we please register this for a second? I was like, we have partied our asses off 400 plus times in the 3 years that I've been here. That's insane, you know?
Wow.
And I was like, where the fuck do that many people collaborate on fun that often all the time? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there just are not those, like, anywhere, almost.
Yeah.
Anywhere. And I'm just like, it was a very cool time. But, you know, I don't know. I think maybe things could have changed with Belmont.
I'm like, that's not going on now.
I know this, and I'm saying like Belmont of those years was like I knew Pops and I knew every like hilarious character around. I hope Pops is still around, which is why I said Pops.
Is he the homeless guy walking around?
He's not homeless.
Go ahead.
He lives with. We won't talk about Pops' whereabouts, but I love you, Pops, and I'm here for you.
Shouts out, Pops.
You too, Barry, over in Hillsborough Village. I hope you're still there. But yeah, you know, just we got to know people, I guess is my point. Like we went to the bars, we went to all the stinky places. We were all like 21 years old, acting like we were 40. I had a mustache. Like, why did I need that? I didn't need it. It was stupid, you know?
Yeah.
I was too young for it. But I was like gin and tonics and cigarettes.
Dude,
old.
gin and
So I
tonic
was
is my
like,
drink
fuck
of
you.
choice. Every time. Gin and
So-
tonic. Wow.
Well, I don't drink anymore. I quit 4 years ago,
Oh, nice.
which COVID had me thinking it was 3 years ago.
Well,
But
I
it's
mean,
been
that's like
4,
if you were
so-
40
Yeah,
at
it's-
that time mentally, and you stopped.
No,
drinking
I
4
was
years
young.
ago.
That's the point. As I could drink forever. I was too
Yeah.
young at spirit.
Yeah.
So technically, you stopped at about like 70 or something.
I stopped at one life and one perfect day of age to quit drinking, you know. But let's also talk about substances.
Yeah.
Everyone has their cake, and I'm down for all of them, you know.
Okay.
But I don't drink alcohol because it doesn't work with me very well, you know.
Yeah.
Really, it just I couldn't be my version of professional, which is very loose anyway. But yeah, you know, like with the band and just more priorities. It's like
Yeah.
I can't really be a drunk ass everywhere I go.
Yeah.
because I have to remember people. I have to make friends. I have to also performance is so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I may be the first person here that performs that is also saying it is so fucking stupid. It's dumb. The stage is dumb.
Yeah.
It's a big fat dumb thing. Wow. It's 4 feet up where these people that are like no more ambitious than anyone else are up there doing a thing they do, and everyone is going wah because of 4 feet. It's so dumb.
Yeah, that is a very good way to look at it. Actually,
it really is.
I never thought about it like that.
It's a pedestal, and if you look at the old way of doing it, back to the green men and whatever, we had there's Red Rocks experience. Mm-hmm. There's, amphitheater experiences. Yeah. And then there's going to like suck some fucker off on a 4-foot stage with a bunch of people,
Yeah.
Like that's just not really what it should be.
Yeah.
But that's what it is now.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm saying it's dumb. Because it should be this like equalizer thing. Is what I think. Like if you perform, the real job is being like, okay, none of these people know me, but they know this art that I've done. So they're going to be intimidated. I understand this.
Yeah.
My job is not to push that forward. My job is to watch these shaky hands go this hand. It's like, you're the shit. Nice to meet you. Like, you're the best. Way to go. Yeah. It shouldn't be like fucking fill me up, haha.
It's just
that's not what it should be.
Embrace that moment. Just
it's like what's the trickster thing?
Yeah.
It's like the court jesters and typically the weirdos and women, I believe, have almost always known when shit was going to hit the fan first, and that is why we need those people to be spreading equality in the way of you're the best, just do your shit, So
like, what are some examples, like especially with like the older parties, where like these weirdos and like the ladies and shit, where like there was a moment like shit was about to hit the fan, and then like just everybody's senses went off, and you have like,
I mean, okay. Every crazy dude that you've ever seen memed in a movie that's going, the end is near. That dude knows something. because he is no longer tied to society.
Yeah.
Society is something that keeps us all swirling around in the same shit all the time. The dude on the street that is like completely dishinged from society is purely just hinging on the ether, like the electromagnetic frequency of Earth at that point. And
he's
Earth,
feeling something else. Yeah, he's feeling
Earth
something.
is saying through that guy, hey, all those fault lines are jacking up. It's going to be a big one. Or like you could probably trace the menstrual cycles preceding the polio epidemic. And literally it'd be like all the moms would probably be like, I don't know about the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Shit like that is constant. I mean, okay. People that grew up on farms, a lot of people that grew up in the middle of nowhere still retain, which I also have, and I love it because it is hilarious. Yeah. But still retain this ability to smell ozone loudly, which is very like sulfuric.
Yeah.
And in that way, it's like without the smell, I could tell you anyway. But those people can be like, "There's a storm in 2 hours.
Yeah,
gonna be here." And you'll be like, wow, not me, because I can smell it too. And I'm like, yes, I know. But the other way is like, look at the trees.
Yep.
All the leaves go like this. And I walk everywhere. So I'm like, 30 minutes. And I literally always get where I'm going without being rained on. Because I'm looking at trees. They're telling me what the fuck's going on.
Bro, that's literally so fucking true.
It is.
Yeah.
Because today... So I picked him up in rideshare, and like it literally like rained, like in the middle of the ride. but I got them like right before it started raining. It was like the craziest shit. Like literally before it. We were talking about like weather and shit. Oh damn, that's fucking crazy. So you were doing that day.
Always.
Wow. That's
Which
insane.
is why the end is near.
That's fucking insane. That's so funny how I find like humans now, like there's so much technology and shit. We lose these like natural senses or these like keen observations that we used to have like all the time.
Oh yeah.
Because it's like I'm
100%.
walking outside and shit, bro. I'm not looking at leaves turn and shit like, oh, it's about to rain. I'm getting rained on.
Dude, every day there's something, and like, I mean, we can go even further with the leaves thing. One of the things that I think about all the time, just because this is where I'm at, fuck it. Anyway, drugs, okay?
Yeah, go for it.
There's one person whose brain or their concept of drugs is that this is your brain on drugs, seeing druggy shit that your brain is making you see, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then there's this other thing where it's like, okay, well, this is consciousness funneling through drugs,
Mm-hmm.
This is drugs helping me see something else, right? So what I'm trying to get at is that, like, when it comes to paying attention to what's around you or not doing that, it's like we have this innate ability to straight up ignore, is what I mean. Like, so what I'm getting at is that, you take a bunch of mushrooms and you look around all day, every fucking leaf on every tree is moving, everything.
Wobbly.
Okay, back in sober town, every leaf is still moving.
Yeah.
We know this. It's wind. They fucking move all the time.
They fucking move.
Every leaf on every tree is moving always. Always.
Yeah.
But if I'm like talking to you in front of a house and you're in front of me, all those leaves behind you are just still. They're not doing shit. And that is my brain omitting all this information that I don't need to survive. But it's still happening. So that's where I'm like, well, there's your brain on drugs, or there's your brain seeing reality, And that gets into like, well, then of course everyone has like shared experiences and they've all talked to the same elves, like I smoked DMT recently. I don't care. I smoked it. Yeah. And and I was having this beautiful experience and I like straight up disassociated and I was like, see you later, and then I was like, wait, it's all so perfect, and I got really sad and I was like, what do I even do with that? It's perfect. And then this like big star rises up and I'm like, oh shit, that's what I am. And it was like,
bro, that's insane. That's probably like the closest. So I had this trip like about, it wasn't DMT, I've never done it.
No, it doesn't matter.
But it was just like some good ass pure acid.
Mm-hmm.
This was like 4 or 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like we're out in Big Bend National Park, West Texas.
Great place to do it.
Yeah. With my homie Dusty's Jeep.
Dusty.
And then I remember I got out the restroom and we get in the Jeep and then we're listening to The Lion Sleeps in the Jungle Tonight.
100%. Yep.
And then I remember like just about like a minute into that song, I'm like, yo, guys, I feel weird. And then like everything just goes black. Everybody's voice just sounds like they're like got a bunch of reverb on it and shit.
Yeah.
I turn into like this fucking like pink energy orb.
Yes.
And nobody fucking, every time I say this shit, people are like, dude, this fucking story is crazy. But like, I'm like, no, dude, I was in a different reality. I was like, yo, this is it. Exactly. I feel you with that. Like, yo, this is it.
Yeah. And that's what I took from it. And then after that moment of like realization, you're like all peaceful, Yeah. And here comes the little trickster again, which I don't know why I do this. I've been doing it like hey, fuck you. No, so yeah, I was coming down from my star moment, and I was like, wow, okay, I'm that. I'm a star. I'm a big ball of gas burning forever, babe. And but then I just remember like, doom, 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 these drums coming in. And then I just hear like ding 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 ding, and I'm like, and I start laughing. I'm like, what are the chances that y'all actually sound like elves? And that's where I was like, you got me there.
Bro, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
Dude,
And it's out there and it's real, I think.
apparently the whole time I was in my little trance,
Mm-hmm.
my homie Dustin was like, I was just like kicking him and slapping him while he was driving or some
But
shit.
that's called that is your subjective reality.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I do not live on the other side of the planet. Okay, I haven't been there before.
Yeah.
I haven't been there, so you could say to me in this conversation that it doesn't exist because, you know, this reality bubble, right?
Yeah.
So like, it's okay. We share those all. I'm not saying the other side of the world doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It does. But if I was making that argument, I could say the same thing. Like, okay, right here, everybody, this part of your vision, is it even there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can do shit like that all the time. It's really fun to
I
do
mean,
so.
they used to think if you walk too far on the earth, you just fall off. So
Yeah, and now they think that if you walk too far on Earth, reality could just generate itself endlessly and you'd never hit the end of the Earth. You know, that conversation just keeps expanding.
yeah,
And that's where it's like nice to really not care about the end result because what the fuck, who cares, you know? It's like
just gonna die
spheroid
anyway.
or flat, whatever, it doesn't matter.
B.O.B. he believes it's flat.
Who does?
B.O.B.
Well,
B.O.B. Yeah.
you know, I have a recent like soft spot for flat earther people because there's so many legs of the conspiratorial octopus
Okay, yeah,
that could be like flat earth,
Yeah.
you know?
yeah,
And it's like you could be like just a general like geologist dude that's like, this doesn't look right, and they're gonna be like flat earth, and you're like, well fuck, you know?
Yeah.
And then like you could be like, man, I swear Jesus did more walking than they said he did, and they'd be like flat earth, you know?
yeah.
Like you
yeah.
could get into any of these concepts, and then now science is like really fucking with everybody's head because you've got like NASA moon mission stuff, and then you've got people 10, 20 years later being like, well, we can't get out there. And it's like, flat earth.
Yeah, still like
It's just literally you can, you know,
wow.
it's the same way that like QAnon was fucky, you know?
Yeah,
Because you can't be a differently thinking person, an alternatively considering person, without someone who doesn't consider the same things going QAnon, Trumper, and it's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? That to me is like really what's wrong. It's like, let's take literally any topic and let's just show how they've cut you all in half and separated you. And here comes the elections. Okay, we're both on the highway. Here's the 2 lanes. They're fixing the middle lane. Shit, I gotta pick one.
Yeah.
And then you go, whoa, fuck. And then you're like right back on the highway. That's literally what's happening all the time.
All the
So
time.
it's like, flat earthers, come over here.
hey man, I'm not mad at the flat Earth people.
Me neither.
They can believe what they want.
Yeah,
Well, they're considering
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, bring it on. Do that.
Yeah.
You know?
As long as I can have like a taco with them or something.
If the flat earthers and the tantric sexers could get together
Yeah.
and collaborate a little, we would have global peace pandemic.
Yeah, we definitely would.
I mean, for real.
Yeah.
The,
All right,
the
I don't wanna
tantric
yeah.
sexers would be like, every person is a cosmos looking into another cosmos. And the flat earthers would be like, well, I guess I don't care about this anymore.
Like, what am I talking about?
And
I
they'd
guess it
zoom
didn't
out a little bit, and they'd all zoom into one another. It'd be great.
Fuck. I don't even know how the fuck we got here, but that's what's so great about
Doesn't
this
even
podcast.
matter. Mhm.
We do this all the time. We just went there. We definitely fucking just went there. It was fucking great.
Great.
Whoa. All right. Where am I gonna bring it back to? Okey Dokey.
Yeah.
So okay, 2014.
Uh,
Wait, but you weren't. You said you were in a band called Soul Cat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is before Okey Dokey. So circa what year was this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Somewhere.
Sometime.
Yeah, sometime. All right, so
Before the fire marshal shut down all the DIY spots,
Okay.
which was like 2016,
Okay.
right?
no.
I think that was when the ghost ship in San Francisco burned down,
Yeah.
which was that big warehouse.
Okay.
No one remembers it
Oh yeah, I
now.
have no idea.
Over 200 people died.
Damn.
Yeah, this big warehouse party. which I remember reading like Pitchfork's article at the time, and it was all about how like the owners of the warehouse were really trying to bring like house music to LA or San Francisco. It's like, go fuck yourself. But yeah, it was like that place burned down and it was terrible.
Yeah.
And the whole country was affected. And then Nashville being like a live music place, which we were in like GQ magazine, all these other things that don't matter, but at the same time it was like the house parties we were throwing were getting draw. You know, people were like, Nashville Scene is crazy. It's like, no, we love this and we're drunk and we're having fun and we're never going to see this again, so whatever. And yeah, it was after that warehouse burned down that like every single DIY spot got shut down. It was like 14 places in town just got pow, pow, pow. And like, I mean, to this day, I think Dark Matter might be one of the only ones that like survived that whole thing, which good on them. And yeah, I mean, it killed bands, it killed all kinds of shit just because people didn't have the like same Nashville was like very the scene was so big here that if you blew up here you could just blow up elsewhere, you know, because it was that big at the time. So we had a lot of that going on where it's like, this band's crushing because they crush here and people are looking, you know, and those bands were cool. But, like, everybody knows what age that was. We're definitely beyond that age now, just because it's gone. But when that happened, you know, this, like, scene in Nashville where everything was bubbling and all this stuff, it really went for, like,
and we're
2
talking
years.
as far as, like, rock and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, it was...
How Coin and Judah and the Lion kind of blew up a little bit?
Probably. I don't know.
Wow.
It had to be Aftermath because they were not playing those parties. No, this was. I mean, and I'm throwing credit to Coin and them. I'm just saying that there were like two different walks of life, which there still are.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, back in that day, there was the Coin Judah way, and then there was the like, nah, you know, and that was kind of like nah.
Yeah.
But then as soon as the fire marshals came through, the like, nah world was like, fuck, we don't know what to do. Like, no one told us what to do, you know? So you had bands just like give up. You had like house shows never happen again. You know, just like this recycling thing that had to happen. And I guess let's I don't know. I was in Soulcat for like a year and a half. They asked me to be their bassist after doing art for them. And it was actually Johnny, who I play in the band with now. He was like, hey, we like to hang out with you and, you know, we need a bassist and you should just do it. You're the one. And I was like, I don't play bass. And he was like, it's really easy. You'll figure it out, which, truth. And it was easy. But I was like, no one's ever asked me to do this, so I'll do it. And if it sucks, it's your fault because I'm just a person that tried, and I don't deserve that flack.
Yeah.
And, so I did that for a while, you know, had some fun, goofed off some places, and then I was like, okay, I'm 25, I think, and I was like, I'm supposed to be making art, and I'm living on $8 a day with this fucking band, and no one buttons their shirt up all the way, and just, you know, that's what we were. Mustache times, you know, I did not need it. And so anyway, I came back to Nashville, started painting and doing my stuff, which... Actually, back to the weird shit, which is honestly what I'd prefer to be talking about.
We can talk weird shit.
I will say, though, that, like, dreams have really kind of, like, led me places, which, oh, man, so many dreams.
So do you lucid dream?
I have since I was a kid, yeah.
See, my thing about
but
like,
I have,
lucid
like,
dreaming.
I could tell you, like, I'm going to be there in 3 weeks kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah, like I have like 3 weeks ahead of time dreams all the time. And I know that they're
Dude,
deja
Tom,
vu
tell them
because
about your
they're
fucking
boring as
dolphin
fuck.
dream.
I had this dream the other night where I was getting attacked by dolphins.
They were loving on you.
They were killer dolphins with like
They were
teeth and
killer
shit.
lovers.
Maybe I should have embraced the dolphins and not
Yeah.
been so scared.
your ocean brethren.
Yeah, my ocean brethren. Yeah, but it was insane. I've never had a dream that vivid where it was just like their mouths were like over my head,
Oh wow.
and I could like see the teeth and shit. And then I just woke up, and I was just like drenched in sweat, and my heart was beating. It was insane. I've never had a dream that like visceral.
I've
Exactly. I am going to Florida soon, which is
go to the ocean.
yeah, exactly.
I have so many I've almost died twice. And both of these times were at the ocean. I was like woken up after I was like for a second.
Yeah.
The first time it was undertow when I was a little kid and I like got sucked up. My dad, luckily, who I owe so much to, saw me and was like, "Fuck no!" And, and I'm like,
"Come back, boy."
I'm like, "Whoa!" And he's like slapping me, like, "Wake up!" And I'm like, "What the fuck?" And he's like, I didn't say any of that at 6 or whatever. I was like, what the fuck, Dad? I'm
What the
dead.
fuck, Dad?
No, yeah. And then the next time it was jellyfish.
Oh shit.
When I was like 13, and I was just like hopping over waves. And yeah, it was like sledgehammers to my chest, and I just like blacked out. Just went underwater. I don't know how long I was under, but I just remember like waking up, and my dad was like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I like looked down. I had these huge like red whelps and just tentacle burns all over me.
Oh shit.
And my first thought too was like, "Nobody peed on me, right?" Just like that's what you think about when you like come back to life. You're like, "Nobody peed on me." That's like when I'm reincarnated next. I'm just gonna like first words. Did anyone pee on me?
That's all that matters, dude. If that didn't happen, we're good.
But yeah, go to the ocean.
Absolutely.
But like the ocean is incredible because
It is.
we got to use it though. I mean, like, because water is just the most conductive thing. It is almost pure electricity anyway. You get into the atomic mix and match of what water is, and you have oxygen, which is 888 protons, neutrons, and electrons. I don't know if I said that right. I didn't sleep last night. But anyway, it's 888. Positive, negative, neutral. Okay? That's oxygen. That's just electricity. Hydrogen over here is just a proton with an electron going around it. That's just electricity. So your water that is all liquidy is just straight up electricity. Okay, cool. That's wild. But then you get into like, okay, that means that 70% of us is just electricity.
Yeah.
So that checks out with the whole, they could put a person on the tip of a pin, so much empty space. There's no empty space. It's just all full, but it's also liquid.
So what do you feel about full moons then? Because I feel like my record store days, like any of my coworkers, we would always know that it's like, if there was like some super weird ass shit going on, the customers were like, "Yo, dude, is it like a full moon?"
100%.
Because of the 70% water thing.
Well, yeah,
like
but
full
I
moon
mean,
and ocean tides.
it's more so 100% electricity. Like that is what we are. So this like, regardless of gravity, in my opinion, this is what I feel. Gravity, in my opinion, makes more sense as a secondary action to electromagnetism.
Yeah.
Which is how we, I think, get our like vortexing golden ratio fractaling into everything.
Yeah.
We have this like ether or oneness or whatever you want to call it, and then below that, we have this other thing, which is like dead space or whatever. It's not. To me, it's plasma. It's this unused, ready to go electrical content, and then it densifies further into all the shit we see. and then into us. But like literally, come on.
Come on.
Now I've got some of you. Now I've got some of you. We vibrate together, you know?
Both hands.
Because we are this like space. But what I'm trying to get at is like, yes, the moon affects us because we are picking up things that no one really like cares to pay attention to. You know what I mean? Like your cell phone, okay? Everyone I know has said, I swear, my cell phone is reading my mind. It's like, well, no fucking shit. It is
Yeah.
literally made to do that.
Yeah.
It picks up EMF responses from a tower that's way the fuck over there. Your electrical brain, every time you think, goes poof, 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 in the same way that that tower way over there does.
Yeah.
So this phone that can read that tower is too pathetic to read this one? Bullshit.
Yeah.
100% it does. It is not a two-way street. And that's where I'm saying, like, we are constantly swimming in all this stuff, the reaction of which creates gravity, and it fucks with us when the moon is full, 100%. But
I was born on a full moon.
I think I may have been too.
What does that mean?
Well, it means that at the moment of your physical incarnation into this bubble version of you, all of the forces of nature were acting on you that way, right when you started. So every cycle we go through, all those forces are going to fuck with you that same way. Every time. Just you, though, it's yours. My gravity fucks with me differently on a different clock, which is why astrology is cool to get into, but it's literally just the tip of the iceberg, just being like, oh, self-discovery.
Yeah.
Don't follow it every single day. It's literally talking about shit that's common sense. It's like you were born into a physical realm, and it fucks with you. And the day that you were born, it started fucking with you, and that is your clock. You know? And that is because we are these receptors. So, like, you know, when you vibe off of somebody, or you're just like, and you look and there's somebody you've been waiting on, you know, like all that shit is happening constantly. And that's where I'm like, yeah, we need to stop looking at water like it's this liquid shit. It is straight up power, and it's almost all of what you're made of. And that means respecting it a little bit, because it's like, why would we shit on 70% of us every time we drink us? It makes no sense. You know what I mean? So yeah, the moon fucks with you. People's vibes fuck with you. I've got shungite in this water because it'll fuck with it, and it'll be better for me to drink.
So what the fuck does the shungite do exactly?
In my belief, okay?
Okay.
Shungite is a form of a crystal, okay?
Okay.
And the reason that is specific is because we have all this, like, space shit, right?
Yeah.
Crystals don't have a lot of it because they are, like, cubey in their formation, not spheroid, okay? So when you get a bunch of spheres stacking on each other, you've got all this space, which is not space, but looks to be empty.
Yeah.
When you have a bunch of cubes stacked on each other, there's not much to be empty. So, in the context of this physical-ass place we live and the electromagnetic things we're feeling, there are certain things that act just like a lens on the sun. You know, you're like roasting ants with it. Okay? Light goes in, comes out differently, right? So, the shungite, in that each mineral or crystal or whatever, you, me, we all have these like resonances that we can pick up and read. Yeah. They all pertain to what is called vibration. You know, the planet Earth has what's called the Schumann Resonance, which is the, 420?
Yeah, 420
432 maybe,
432,
actually.
432 hertz.
But that's Earth's vibrating, you know. So the shungite in its carbon molecular structure seems to be a crystal that when you shine the invisible light into it, it fractals out in a way in which the molecular structure of the water is invigorated in a way that helps it reconstruct itself into the structured clusters that water can actually form, which is beyond the H2O mechanism. It can actually create these like dodecahedrons and shit. And that is where they say you can program things onto water, because it does have a memory. And I mean, literally, it's trippy.
How the fuck does this shit affect your like fucking artwork? Like, I feel like it's coming from another place now that we talk more about this shit. Like, does this shit just like, because the ether, that's a concept. That's what I call it.
Mhm.
So is it like, is that shit?
That's
just
like your source or your consciousness.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like Albert Einstein and shit. Like, he grabbed from there too. Like,
Well, he was, yeah. I mean, Einstein and Jung and a lot of people, they had to kind of come to terms with the ether by the end of it. You know, like Carl Jung was literally like, yo, when I get upset, shit in the other room fucking falls off the wall, you know? So he's like, something's happening here.
yeah.
Thought, reaction. He was like, what's going on? Literally had like Freud over for a party, I think, and was like talking to him about this shit and was like, I'm telling you, when I think shit happens, it's weird. And he was like, whatever the fuck. And then like, apparently Jung got really mad and was like, God damn it. And then he like, "Rah," and then something fell in the other room and Freud was like, whoa. Like, and then Einstein, you know, Einstein was like, E equals MC squared, gravity, and all this shit. And then like literally by the end of his life, he was like, fuck, quantum physics. We really got to reel it back. And it was like we were so fucking spent on E equals MC squared that even Einstein couldn't go backwards and be like, but wait, there's this. He called it, I think it was him that called it spooky action at a distance, quantum entanglement. He couldn't explain it. He was like, this is like magic. These over here do what those over there do, you know? And like, I don't know, there's something to it. But I think that's something to be played into when we're living and stuff. And I think it also creates empathy, really, when you're like getting into this kind of shit. Yeah. Because you do see synchronicities all the time, like all the time. And to your dream point, I'm actually excited about hearing about your terrible dream.
Yeah.
Because yesterday
terrible dream.
I saw a video. Well, I saw a video of a shark that like swallowed somebody's GoPro, like, and it like went into the shark's throat, and I was just like, whoa, like it's not that bad in here, you know? It was just like soft looking, and you just like see gills forever until you're swallowed up, and you know, it spit it back out. But I can actually see what you saw, I think, with the, and it's crazy. I
Dude,
feel you.
There was people in my dream that I haven't thought about or seen in like almost 10 years.
And
since,
you're
like,
going
high
to see
school.
them. I'm serious. You're going to run into somebody. You said that, and on the drive over here, I'm pretty sure I saw someone I grew up with in my little town. But I was like, holy fuck, they haven't changed at all. Like, what are they doing here?
Yeah.
I grew up an hour away, you know. Every once in a while, they're going to show up. But I'm just saying, the familiarity was like, whoa. But what I'm getting at is just, you know, use your own weird, which I hate that word because I don't think we're supposed to really call shit weird. It just is, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I've seen too many just is things at this point to be like calling it anything else is what I mean. So, you know, like, so yeah, the dreams thing, I mean, I paint murals and stuff.
Yeah.
And literally, I started that because the night before New Year's Eve, like 7 or 8 years ago, I was just like having this dream, and I was like up on a ladder, and I was painting this wall. And I didn't even paint at this point. I wasn't a painter at all. Yeah. And I was just like, I'm doing a mural. And I was like, all my friends are here, and everybody's partying. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I like painted, and I woke up, and I was like, I'm going to paint walls, and I'm going to have parties there, because that's all I know how to do. And it's going to be cool. And I'm a muralist now. Okay. And then literally I go to
Yeah.
Tin Dog, I think is what it used to be called. I don't know if it is anymore. I don't think it is.
Yeah.
But it's over by Wedgwood, Houston. And I went there for like a party, and I ran into this dude who became my roommate later. But I hadn't seen him in like 3 years. And at this point, I did not have a phone because I was like, I mean, it was just easy to at that point. I just didn't have a phone. And I went for like 2.5 years without one.
Wow.
It was amazing. And anyway, it was amazing. The friendship that I experienced with the network of people that would be like, hey, have you seen Aaron? Oh, I saw him walking this way 2 hours ago. Okay, cool. Hey, have you seen him? Oh, he was just here an hour ago. Maybe check Ashwood. You know, I'd literally, and then I'd just be walking, and my friends would roll up and be like, hey, come on. I'd be like, all right, cool. You know,
That's crazy, dude.
that was like all I did forever, and it was great. And it was selfish because all my friends had to deal with that, and that was fucked up, really. You know, like every person I know that's like, I'm gonna live off the grid. I'm like, which one of us, good friends of yours, are you showering with? Who are you wasting your friend cred on with showers right now while you're off gridding? There's always someone, you know. So anyway, the support needs to be acknowledged. But yeah, I go to Tin Dog and I run into this dude, and it's this buddy Evan, and I haven't seen him in a couple of years. And he's like, man, I've been looking everywhere for you. You don't have a fucking phone. And I was like, nope. And he was like, do you paint murals? And I was like, yeah, I do. It was literally the next day. And he was like, I got a wall for you. And I was like, fucking sign me up. I'm a muralist. And I did not know what to do. But I was like, okay, I can draw really well with a pen. If I make it big, I can draw well with it, you know?
Yeah.
And they had those like paint markers, and I was like, this will do. And I just figured it out. And, but it started me off on this really wonderful mural journey with friends of mine. And like, yeah, we would have parties when we'd unveil the murals, and they would be big and fun. And it was exactly what my dream had me doing. You know,
I like how it's like this shit just like it just seemed to unravel. There was really like no
That's-
fucking ever massive plan or nothing.
That's
It's just
what it
like, yeah,
is.
like I'm a fucking muralist now, baby. Yeah.
Well, but that's where the plan is kind of consistent though, because I will say that I've never ever since I lived here, since I like made that deal with my dad,
Yeah.
I've never said anything but I'm Aaron, I'm an artist, ever. I will never say anything else, you know, because it's the truth. And you know, if you're getting into all this like synchronicity, like what is this shit?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, well, there's something which anyone that's like woo-woo is going to roll their eyes at me right now, but there's something called the double slit experiment, which I think everyone should check out. But it's where they basically, in a laboratory setting, were like, whoa, when we observe this, it changes. Like thought is preceding the experiment.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow, you know? So then they started to try this thing with plants, you know, and they would take like a random probability generator and put it in the top of a room, and it would just spin around with like a sodium bulb or
Yeah.
whatever, and it would just hit random points. And then they would literally put a plant in the room, and immediately it would go shoo, probability to the plant, because the plant needs light in this dark ass room. So they were like, holy fuck, you know? And then after that, they started doing things like, I think Gregory Little was the person that did the study. But basically they were like, all right, here's a group of 30 people. Here's a room with a plant in it, a little bush, and we're going to give every single person a piece of paper. And every single person except for one had a blank piece of paper. That one person had a instruction that said, cut some leaves off of the bush.
Mm-hmm.
So they would. And then they would have everyone regather. They would mix them all up in a different order, and they would have them go into the room and reading the plant's electromagnetic buzz at the time. Every time that the person that interacted with it or clipped it came into the room, it would light up. Like, oh, it's them. You know?
What the fuck?
Like, yes. So, like, what I'm getting at is that there's more sentience then I think we acknowledge. And as people that are talking about shit together, we also have this like opportunity to like pass shit forward. So like, hey, little tree, you're a thing. Know yourself. You know, hey, puppy dog, you're stupid as shit. I love you though, and now your name is Wiley. And look at you go, you're a little person now. You know, it's like we have these abilities to like pass that forward. It's like enjoy consciousness. Here it goes. You know, I can't wait to see what you reincarnate as. But what I'm getting at is like, in all of those concepts, using thought is not a blank activity. It's actually like a pulp material. It's something you can use, and the more you think the thought, the more the more you think the thought, the more the experience shows itself. And if thought is bricks, using the same one over and over builds a house, and then that's what you're sitting with, you know? And I just literally, I challenge every person to be like, okay, what did I never, ever not, like, knock myself on? Like, what was the one thing I never fucked with about me? And I guarantee, like, across the board, your experience will show you that you did not fuck with that. And it will unfold and roll. I mean, like, you guys are podcasting. It's like, what'd you do? It was like, I have an idea, a thought. Let's think about this more. Think.
Yeah.
Now you have 87. Am I 87?
Yeah.
88.
Something like that.
88 would be perfect. Oh, that's a synchronicity.
I think it is 88.
I want
Is it really?
I want to make sure you're 88. We're gonna make sure right now.
88 is a number I attribute to my partner.
I want to make sure that
Keeps
we know
showing
this.
up.
We will know.
But all
Why
I'm
you doing
trying to
that?
say is that we're here on 88.
You're 88.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That is a number that I've been like keeping with me lately. So fuck yeah. But yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you can, fly by the seat of your pants if you want, or just float. Which I think everybody's floating. It doesn't really matter how defined the experience is, which is really where it's funny as fuck, because you're like, I don't know. And you're just cracking up. You know what I mean? Like yesterday, I was thinking, like last night, I was sitting in my living room. My partner, Julia, was asleep. And I was sitting there thinking, what if everything... Because I had, like, stepped on a bug earlier, and I don't actually, like, I try to avoid bugs all the time. Like when I'm swimming in a swimming pool, I'm the person that, like, goes around the pool, and I'm like, oh, I got you, buddy. And I, like, get this wasp and be like, here you go.
Yeah.
And I'll, like, watch it, like, shake its wings out, and I'll be like, tell your friends what I've done here. And so I was literally thinking, like, I stepped on a bug today, and I was like, what if all of my existence is just a giant fucking show, so that bug's existence makes any goddamn sense? I was like, what if I am not real, so that bug can be more real? I was like, I don't care. That sounds fine.
Like, fuck it, dude.
Like, it's okay.
That's like my weird thought I had about hands. Like,
What about
I wrote
them?
a song about hands,
Mhm.
and I was talking about, like, do we ever really think about our fucking hands? Like, we do so much with them.
But it's good to do it.
It's like, we wipe our ass with them.
Hmm.
Like, we're sexual with our hands.
I don't think anyone thinks about their assholes enough. You know what I mean?
I don't either.
Like, if there was a camera in every toilet just so you know what other people have to look at, it would just be nicer, the whole world. It's like when they put a mirror behind a bar. It's not so
Dude.
that the bartender can be like, oh, we're busy. It's so that the patron sees themselves getting angry, and they're like, oh, I look like a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Hey. That's what the mirror is for, which I think every mirror is for. It's like just...
Hands are mirrors to me.
But also, like,
Yeah.
to your point, though, like, lucid dreaming and stuff, like, number one best trick ever is just to, like, literally contemplate your hands. Like, when you go to sleep, you just think about what your hands look like. That's all you think about. You're like, all right, my hands. Because it's this subconscious signaler of like
like an
control
anchor,
or
right, yeah.
tangibility. Yeah, it's like I can like reach and grab now. And I, but to your point, it's like, why don't people lucid dream more? It's like, well, they have no idea what their hands look like. Probably that's the start of it.
We build things with hands, destroy
Exactly.
them.
Well, if you get into occulty shit, I mean, all the like higher knowledge was funneled to the architects and the artists first, because those were apparently the two class of citizen that already had a firm understanding of how to manipulate space in their area for change, which is like pretty hefty concept, going from pyramids to boring shit that we have now,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot to hands. And
There's a
making
lot to
things.
fucking hands, dude.
There's a lot to hands.
There's a lot to fucking hands. They hold a lot of lies and troops.
I've
Yes.
heard that we're evolving away from our pinkies.
Really?
Yeah, that's why everybody's pinkies are getting shorter, apparently. I don't actually know that that's true at all.
So we're gonna be like Family Guy, just like fucking like 4 fingers and shit.
Not me, not you. We won't make it that far.
No.
But whatever bug-eyed iPad children are out there someday are going to have no pinkies.
I know there's a thing right there is starting to go away. Most of us have this like kind of tendon here.
This
Some
thing?
people don't have it. Like if you do this, it kind of sticks out
This thing.
Oh yeah.
Right there?
right around here.
We're just like, oh, everybody's like,
10% of the population doesn't have it anymore.
Well, there's also Mandela Effect. You guys ever get into that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you?
that's what I feel about bananas.
Bananas?
Yeah.
What about them?
So like, I was talking to Tom about this yesterday. Like, I felt like bananas when I was like 7 or 8, they used to be a lot more firm. Now I feel like they're like just really mushy. And there was like something that happened where I didn't like bananas as much. I was like, what the fuck did they do to bananas?
How old were you in 2012?
In 2012, I would have been like 16.
You died.
I died?
We all died.
Damn.
That's the deep rabbit hole version of Mandela Effect, if you're wondering.
Yeah.
It's that everyone that remembers the shit differently died, and we just to the next timeline,
Wow.
which is totally fine, is what I'm saying. It's totally fine.
It really fucks with my head. Because, like, there is
crazy.
definitely stuff in the Mandela Effect that I've seen where it's like, yeah, like, that was like that. I
Have you-
swear.
Damn, dude.
Have
me and
you seen
Dylan
the
and his
human
buddy had a
body?
deep-ass conversation about this one night.
Have you seen
Yeah,
the
it's tough.
human
It was
body?
crazy.
What about it?
Well, like, okay, when I grew up, it was like there wasn't really internet, so you had to be like really nichey about what you were into. And for me, it was horror films and kaiju and like
Oh,
Godzilla
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know?
that's.
Like my first dream job I ever wanted was to be the blood splatter guy.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I got all my shit. And it was like, good brains, Aaron. Yep. So what I'm getting at is just fuck, what was I getting at? Oh yeah, human body. So I was like a weird kid. I would draw like dead bodies and shit. I would like all the horror stuff, I was like drawing like dream props basically. Like, yeah, spear through the head with this guy. And like that was just where my brain was. And
Dude.
but I remember, like, I swear to you, I remember, like, first of all, the heart was over here.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I was a little Cub Scout, they'd be like, where's your heart? And you'd put your thumb right here and go over. Now your heart's here in the middle. That is not what I grew up with. And then also your lower, or your large and smaller intestine. And in my memory, being a weird little kid drawing stuff, was literally one of them's right here and the other one's right under it. That was like intestines. Large ones, small ones.
Yeah,
I remember that.
right?
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One on top of the other,
Yeah.
right? Now, you look at it, it's small intestines all here, and then wrapped around them is the large intestines.
that's not
Look
right.
it up.
No.
Look it up. Seriously. It is fucking different.
I thought that's how it always was.
Nah.
I don't remember that.
You
I
didn't
remember
die.
it being stacked.
I remember it being stacked.
You've been here the whole time. You're the ambassador to this timeline.
It's like some Rick and Morty shit or
2020
something.
Q, you know?
Dude.
Should be wearing a cape.
No, I definitely fucking remember the stack. I
Right?
remember the stack.
Yeah,
I
remember
do
the
too.
stack.
I
I
remember
remember that.
I remember Final Destination, the third one maybe. there was a scene where they're like having a barbecue or something, and it blows up, and this barbed wire fence gets shot like 100 feet, and this dude's like got a tray, and it like chops him in half. He's like, "Whoa!" And I just remember small, large falling out of his body. Like, where's one? There's the other. You know. But there's a lot of them. I mean, like Febreze. I used to now it's Febreze, I believe. I remember in high school, my friend would always Febreze us after we'd go somewhere so that his mom wouldn't smell weed. And it's like, we just smell like fucking Febreze everywhere we go. And I hated it. And I always was like, Febreze, like making fun of the bottle, you know, and now it's Febreze. And I'm like, that is not right. Dude. I remember being so pissed about Febreze forever. Because that was it. It was like a breeze in a bottle. Breeze.
Yeah, that shit doesn't cover up the weed smell either. It really doesn't work.
2 Chainz, like, yeah, I'm the shit. I should have Febreze on me.
There you go. You know?
Febreze.
But, I mean, the Berenstein Bears thing.
Berenstein Bears, yeah.
I remember being tortured. Is it I before E?
Dude, that's such an early
every
one,
time.
too.
Every time being like, is it I before E? E before I? Are they Steins or Steens? Fuck. You know? I grew up in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee.
I
I had no help. And I was like, fuck, just here. And
Have
I
you
could
seen
never get it.
Apocalypto?
Yeah. The Mel Gibson
movie, yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it for the first time the other day.
That's really
I
good.
remember watching it and just being like, man, this is like pregnant lady torture porn. Isn't she like down in the pit for just ever?
For the whole movie.
Just having a baby.
Yeah.
She had the baby.
I know.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Life will win. Life will make a way.
And they're just like chopping people's stomachs and taking hearts out and like.
I mean, have you seen Cannibal Holocaust?
Yes.
No, I have not.
The movie is
What
intense.
the fuck is that?
It's really fucked up. But
Yeah, it's a fucked
it's
up
a gem.
movie.
I'm gonna switch the battery, by the way. So wait,
Okay.
let's not talk about that just yet.
All right.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Yeah, guys.
Pause. Yeah.
And we are back, peeps, and we're gonna talk about Cannibal Holocaust.
Nice.
One of the
'Cause I
first
don't
ever
know what that
mockumentaries.
is.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. What it
It's
is.
it's an old movie from I think the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's like the first mockumentary ever made, where it's like a mock documentary, and they go into the jungle, and it's just like a fucked up movie.
I think actually the first mockumentary was The Creature of Boggy Creek.
Yeah.
Have you seen that one?
No, I've heard of it.
Dude, that freaked people out because it was about Bigfoot in Boggy Creek area.
Yeah.
Which I think there were like some sightings that I'm cool with Bigfoot, but that was a mockumentary and that scared the shit out of people because like Cannibal Holocaust was a mockumentary, but like at that point you already had Faces of Death. Do you remember
Faces
that?
of Death. Yeah.
Have you seen Caligula?
Yeah.
Really?
It's all Blair Witch.
You liar. You have not
No,
seen
wait.
Caligula.
I've seen all the blowjobs in
that
Caligula.
shit is fucking... You're like the first person I've asked. They're like, no, yeah, I've seen Caligula.
Yeah.
I've asked many people
So you're
this
a bit of
question.
a film. You like movies?
Yeah, I mean, Caligula came
That
from
movie
a
is intense.
sexually repressed
Yes.
girlfriend in high school. That was her pick.
Interesting.
And I was like, Caligula, all right. And I was like, whoa,
Very sexually
this is
repressed.
interesting.
It is.
I wasn't. I was like, I know what all this is. And she, she was like, Caligula, it's really good. And I'm like,
That's
like
insane.
it's not that good. There's a lot of
It's actually
stuff
like,
going
yeah.
on, but but also that's art. Whatever.
Yeah, it is art.
Yeah.
It's
I don't
very raw art.
I don't shame any artful living, I mean, especially not
I can't
sex
believe you've
stuff.
seen that shit.
Just be whatever. Oh yeah, I've seen Caligula.
That movie's so fucking crazy, dude. Like,
It is.
I can't believe it was made. When we watched it, I was just like, I cannot
Kay
believe
Wash
this
is the
was
one who
made.
showed me this shit. He was like, dude, have you seen Caligula? I'm like, nah, bro. Like the fucking Roman emperor guy. He's like, yeah.
Yeah,
But have you
but
seen
have you
Caligula?
seen it? Yeah.
Like, okay. I'm like, oh. Then we had Jachi watch it, and then it just fucked his mind. He was like, wow.
They're like, fellatio in a movie?
Yeah.
In like a
What?
high budget movie with like
I know.
with what's his face from Clockwork Orange? Like
Yeah, it's Marcus McAdam. I don't know. Marcus something.
Yeah.
He's great.
Marcus something, dude. Shouts out.
Shout out. Or Malcolm.
Malcolm.
It's Malcolm Maddox or
Butler?
something.
No. Malcolm
Can we look this up?
Malcolm
let's
McDowell?
Malcolm
fucking do it.
McDowell.
Malcolm McDowell.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's
wait.
it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's definitely it.
Yeah.
Who else was in this?
He's coming back in like horror stuff, and he was the
Yeah.
Clockwork Orange guy. and-
Malcolm McDowell, Helen Mirren.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Helen Mirren.
She was,
Peter O'Toole.
Yeah, Peter O'Toole.
British as fuck guy.
Yeah.
I was already really into Helen Mirren
Steiner.
when I saw that. So when I figured out she was in that, I was like, all right, I'll watch this with you for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of big names in this
Yeah.
area.
This ritual,
Yeah.
yeah, this blood orgy, there's a lot of big
Yeah.
names.
Movie is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
But in Cannibal Holocaust, the director actually got he had to go to court to prove that the people in the movie were still alive because it was like banned in every country because everyone thought it was like real killings.
Well, that's because he killed the animals.
Yeah, he
The
actually killed
animal,
animals.
the animals that died were all real,
Yeah,
and they did get him on animal cruelty.
yeah,
I mean, because they like pull a sea turtle out of the ocean, right?
Yeah.
And they cut a turtle into pieces, and
yeah. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. Did they eat it at least?
they do all this. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it freaked people out. They thought it was real.
Yeah,
You know?
But they ate the turtle.
parts
they
of the
did. They did eat the turtle.
yeah,
At least they didn't waste it.
yeah,
It was like cannibal movie eating, though. They probably wasted it. It was like,
No.
yeah, like yeah,
okay.
yeah.
They didn't season it or anything.
But the director
Wow.
has kind of owned it in a weird way that I think is only like old Italian guys at this point.
yeah.
Like he was
Okay.
like, I had to kill the animal to sell the realism of the cannibals. And it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Okay.
It's like, okay, dude. He's like, and now my film is infamous. And it's like,
It's like, well,
well, Moby has tattoos against you now up and down his arms, like
yeah.
animal safety. You know, have you seen Moby's tattoos?
No, I haven't.
I've heard
But
about
Play's
that.
a great album.
I don't know what his tattoos are going to change about the world. Literally nothing.
Yeah,
Everyone already knows, Moby, that you are with the animals. That part, the tattoos get me. I'm like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
Dream Totem. Pick something else.
Yeah.
We already know your whole life's mission. Like, I can't wait for Moby's funeral just to see what other like his eyelids say green peace when he closes them. They're like- He's like a billboard of yes, we know your vibe.
yeah,
You know?
I just know he was like Play, and he made like Acid House.
I
All the early
love
stuff.
the album where he's jumping. You know what I'm talking about? Where he's like,
Play.
is that the record? I love it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's like all that music from that album. A lot of it was in commercials.
South Side, that song.
No.
Here we all know. the South Side. I love that song.
Play?
I karaoke
good
that
album.
song sometimes.
Moby, dude. I didn't know he had like all those.
I heard a
tattoos.
What's your
person
go-to
falling
karaoke
rain. Do-do-do-do-do. I really enjoy this song called Alone Again Naturally by
Oh.
Gilbert O'Sullivan.
Yeah, I know that song.
Alone Again Naturally. I love like melodrama at the karaoke bar.
Yeah.
On tour, we go to a lot of bars that will be dingy and they have a karaoke box that no one's using. And there will be old men that are like, fuck you guys walking in here. And I'll just be like, sign me up for a song. And I'll just do like Stuck in the Middle with You. It's like clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. I'm like, that's you fucking idiots. And they're just like, oh, I love this guy. He calls it like it is.
Oh, this is fucking great. God damn it, dude. Fuck. I was just like, I don't even know how the fuck we got here, dude. This is great. We got here
Cannibal
again.
Holocaust.
Cannibal Holocaust. That's what we.
Well, I mean, that was that, but
Yeah.
there was something that got us there. A lot of shit.
I don't know.
How the fuck? Okay. How the fuck did all this shit lead you to? How the fuck did you get to Deep Tropics with like all this shit going on? Like, how do we even get there with that?
I was just, let me see. Is this like 4 years ago
Yeah.
now? I don't remember where I was in my life,
Okay.
but I do remember I needed work because I was like, you know, I think I was like freshly out of the first band
Yeah.
and not yet into Okey Dokey at all. So like maybe 5. No, it's been 4 years. Anyway, Blake, who is the owner of the festival, he's one of them, showrunner. He's the man. Blake hit me up and he was kind of like, hey, we need a poster. And I was just literally like, nah, I need all of this. I want all of this. And I was just like, you do need a poster. It sucks. But you need everything. All your shit sucks. And I was just like, let me do it. And I'll do all of it. And dude, Blake and I have been through so much shit together, like just running through the rain and dealing with crap and just me on like 50 million Adderalls one season just to like, I mean, I slept 12 hours in a week, like painting shit, you know? But yeah, it's been so awesome. He gave me that opportunity. I went with it. I created like this place for it all. And now the whole thing is the art that I made for it. I can draw anything in Deep Tropics version ever. I'm working on a graphic novel that'll be out in October. As like an accompaniment to the festival, which it's no dialogue, it's just art, and it's going to be like 200 pages.
Wow.
It's going to be cool. I'm excited.
Really rad.
Pictures.
But back to all the weird stuff, it's like that's where it's going, is that book and the story that I wrote 3 years ago that I now understand that I'm really into. And yeah, shit is just constantly like, oh, wonderful, amazing, okay, cool, okay, cool. And I will say that part of that process is being like, man, that's making everyone mad. I need to just care about them and maybe not think about that as much. Come on. And being kind of driven, you know, you have to stay like, this thing has to be what it's going to be. This thing has to be what it's going to be, and I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make it there. And then now here we are, Deep Tropics. I design everything down to the recycling bins, like, and that is something I am so proud of, because after the first season, I'm like not super aware in the EDM world. I'm like not the most aware person. So like for me, that's a great opportunity because I have no taste to push. I have no favorite artists that are playing this year. I have literally none of that shit. I have Deep Tropics, what it looks like, what's happening there, this big book it's all going to be in, and the experience of people when they're at the park during this time. And, you know, I think the main thing is just after the first year, we went to see Flying Lotus like a week or two after the festival. Dude. I love Flying Lotus like so much. My whole life. I mean, I grew up with like Adult Swim and all this shit. So like the second he was making music, I was like, whoa. And yeah, we went to see, and I was just like, awesome. And I was kind of feeling this like afterglow of the event. I'm like, all right, cool, that was fun.
So what year is this? Because I know like Flying Lotus, like 1 year,
Cannery.
Like, he had the best like stage.
It was like like David Lynch was.
Was it when he was in the box? Was he doing the box thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah,
dude.
And it was awesome.
Oh man.
But like I was just kind of like, oh great, I just did this job for a festival. Like it went well. No one shit their pants. Like I almost did, but no one else did. Cool. And then I was like, all right, cool. As a residual from this job, I now get to go see an artist I adore, you know? And I saw the box, like the set, and I was like, this is amazing. And I was like, but I can do that, you know? Like, I can do that.
He's like, yeah, cool.
Yeah, I was like, this is amazing, but I can literally do that. I have to figure out how to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And the main thing, though, is that people would come up and they'd see, like, Blake and some of the All True people and, like, people they recognized as the crew that put the show on or whatever. And then some people would come up to me and be like, you're the art guy. And I'd be like, I'm an art guy. And they'd be like, you're the Deep Tropics guy. And I'd be like, thanks for noticing, you know? And they'd be like, dude, thank you so much. No one gives a fuck about us. And I was just like, that's insanely wrong. That's not true. Like, because I now do, you know? And I was like, holy shit. Like, and I mean, that is really what it is to me. It's the same thing, like, you know, I think people are well equipped to being who they need to be. I don't think there's anything pedestal-y about saying that about and to people. Mm-hmm. And I think when you're engaged in art or creation or speaking or whatever the fuck, you know, I think to look at what's gotten you there, who's now available to experience, you know, and treating them with empathy in the way that, like, no, we're making this shit together, you know? Like, Okey Dokey was cool to me as, like, I'm going to try it out. But then someone told me it got him out of a bad time. And I was like, okay, now I give a fuck. Oh, my God. You know, I was like, I give so many fucks now. And same with Deep Tropics. It was like, all right, I'm a fly on the wall. And I don't want to, like, put any notions on these people. I don't want to, like, drum up what the EDM crowd is, you know? I was like, I just want to make a place and let them come into it, and hopefully they like it, and I'll know if they hate it, because, come on, it's EDM crowd. It's the weirdos I grew up with, you know? They're all going to be like, yo, brah, that sucked. Or they're going to be like, man, I was seeing, like, and I'm gonna be like, job well done, you know.
One or the other, dude.
Right, and I remember that year too. I was like, okay, I'm gonna make one joke, and I was just like, all right. So I like pushed for this T-shirt to be made, and it's this like pink head, you know, and it's just this like stoic like Roman looking bust thing, but it's got like bubblegum skin and blue hair, and it's got like a cube over here and fire in this eye, and it's just like, you know. And I was like, what is the deity of Deep Tropics? And I was like, it's got to be pretty heady. And I was like, just a head, just a floating head. That is loud and hilarious to me, you know. And I was like, they will either hate this or they will embrace it, and this is my test, you know. And then I just remember like being in the front of house booth, and like they're like, you know, I forget who was playing, like someone cool was playing, and I, you know, like these creatures I'd drawn were next to them, and I was like, fuck yeah. And then I was like, can I push that button there? And they're like, yeah, it's a CO2. And I was like, awesome. And it just went, and I was like, whoa, you know, and because I was like, that's what we did. And then I noticed too that like in front of me there was like 200 people, and they were wearing the floating head, and it was on the back of the shirt. So all I saw was like a sea of dancing heads, and I was like, okay, they love this, amazing, okay, you know. And yeah,
there's nothing quite like your shirt being worn by a ton of people.
Oh, it
like
feels
your design.
good.
Yeah, it feels
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. But also I was like, I'm looking at fun right now, you know, and I was like, that's the world I want to be in. And I was like, how do I do this every day? This is like amazing, you know. And I think honestly that just really awakened in me just an acknowledgement of where all that energy goes, you know? It's like, it's not just fun. It's like literally our thought matter.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we turning it into? It's like, I'm either funneling it all to that guy, or I'm funneling it all to you guys back at you, you know, and
Rad.
I think that's like what the festival is to me at this point anyway. It's like, how do we create a place where you go and you're not thinking like, oh, Bicentennial Park, or you're not thinking like, oh, there's that person, because like literally who gives a shit. And you know, I think that's kind of the point, is like getting into creative mechanisms just to literally experience more people. You know, it's like that's the point, is
So
to
what was
just
the thought with
experience
it?
more people.
That's the one coming up like August, right?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, the EDM one.
Mm-hmm.
So like the last one was like a bunch of like hip hop guys and shit.
Mm-hmm. It was split. Mhm.
Yeah.
And the first year I was with them, we had maybe Earth Gang.
Yeah, Earth Gang.
Yeah, I think they had to cancel like last minute. So we went from having Earth Gang, I think. I could be wrong. But either way,
Yeah.
the same day as our festival, they had some kind of like city meeting with all the like officiators,
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, the mayor and the blah, 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 and the state representatives and the governor. And they were all literally next door at the farmer's market having some boring shit. And we're over here having this festival. And we get like a note from the city. They're like, hey, Channel Trace played. And he was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. And then they were like, hey, no profanity in our park. And it's like, this is a
What?
music festival, you know?
Yeah, like, what do you expect?
Yeah. And they were like, turn it down. So anyway, I think it was Earth Gang that ended up bailing. Something happened. But we had a decision. And they were like, all right, you can either get this person or you can get Rick Ross. And we were like, they told us not to cuss anymore. Rick Ross, please. So it was like so awesome just watching like these characters I'd drawn, and literally Rick Ross is walking around. I'm just like, fuck you. And I'm like, yeah. It was so
We
great.
talked about Rick Ross earlier.
That's
See?
funny.
His Wingstop venture.
See, it keeps going.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
chicken.
He's in Wingstop now?
He owns a bunch of Wingstops.
Oh,
Yeah, like 50 of them.
that makes sense. That's
Yeah.
like Kings of Leon. I think they're just trying to buy bars in the Gulch these
Yeah,
days.
Makes sense.
You met the...
I did postmating.
Oh, wow.
He just came out of his side door in sweatpants, and
Yeah,
the main guy.
And he
So-
ordered Thai food?
Yeah, ordered like $80 worth of Thai food.
Sounds like that fucking slob.
Yeah.
You're a fucking slob, dude. You heard it here first.
At like 11
Caleb
a.m.
or
too.
whatever. You're a
Yeah.
fucking slob, dude.
It was like morning. He had it for breakfast.
Your sex is on fire. You're a slob. Your sex is eating Thai food at 11 a.m.
Yeah, it's
slob.
fucking weird decisions, dude.
You're a
You gotta
slob.
Get your fucking life together, man.
Yeah, you're a slob. Come meet me out on the streets. Fucking slob.
Fuck you, dude.
Yeah, you're a slob.
Man.
Beef.
No, that's not real beef, but
Yeah.
it's truth, though. You're a slob. You know?
Yeah. I don't
I'm
know,
just
I don't
kidding.
know.
Festivals other than Deep Tropics?
Like for my artwork? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Defunct Festivals. They're not really festivals anymore. So honestly, I'm having a hard time remembering the names of these. One is Athens of the South.
Like, they're not going anymore?
Like they're just not a thing
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
And then there was one at like Centennial Park that they tried to do. It was really funny though. It was when the Flaming Lips played, who I love, you know.
Lips is amazing.
Right.
Soft Bulletin, favorite album.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But this was that time in which Wayne was like hanging with Miley Cyrus and stuff and all that crap. And I just remember like, because I had painted, I was like, all right, I'm going to go watch from side stage because I love these guys. And I was like, what other perks are there here? Just this. So I was like, I'm art, like whatever. And I'm like up there. And I just remember watching the Flaming Lips, and I'm like, God, I love this band. And I remember looking at the crowd being like, man, this is so weak. Nashville did not show up.
Showing up a lot.
And then I remember this like limousine, not really, it was just a car,
Yeah.
showed up, and Miley Cyrus walked out of it, and she like walks up to like the stage because they were going to do a song together. That was
Yeah.
like the Ramblings, was like, Miley's going to be here. And then I just remember her like walking up to me and like, oh no, and just left because she saw the crowd. I was like, see you later, Miley.
Damn.
Yeah,
Wow.
that happened, but I don't remember that festival's name.
Wow.
It was.
Through Full Circle, or are these different companies?
This was just through me making art forever. You know, no, word of mouth. I don't have a website, or word of mouth in Nashville has been wonderful.
Yeah,
I do
dude.
Instagram, but
Yeah, your whole story is like just, it's so fucking free flow. It's so cool. It's like you literally are like water. I'm just like, out
we're
here moving
all
around.
water, dude.
But you're like the
We're
real
all
testament
water.
of water, bro.
That reminds me of hearing some quote where it's like, don't have, and I don't mean this disrespectfully, like, don't have goals, just kind of flow with it.
No, yeah. Don't have expectations.
Expectations.
Right. No expectations.
No.
But you can also, like, I think you can select things, you know? Like, you can say, this is like not having an expectation. This is just literally like mind gymnastics. But I think, you know, like getting into all the weird woo-woo shit, you know, I do think that we live in a multiverse of something. I do not think we can just hop from, you know, consciously hop from existence to existence, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I think it's more so like when you look at like a fourth dimensional cube, you know, the Tesseract animation. It's like I am just the cube in the center before it starts expanding or unfolding.
Yeah.
But like the Tesseract thing, you know, it requires all the forms of the cube at once. So I'm like cube, 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 cube. That's all we are. There's a different you all over the place, but you are not going to see it in this one. You're just this. So that's where deja vu. It's like,
Okay,
yes,
but
you
what
can
about, like,
experience.
Quantum jumping though, because there's a whole concept.
Yeah, you should be.
Yeah, of
I
like-
mean, really.
Okay, so these multiple realities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so are you familiar with the concept of quantum
I
jumping?
want to hear it from you.
Okay, so aligning your vibration
Yep.
or your mindset
Mhm.
to this different reality until it shifts to that. So it's like
An,
maybe in some,
an available
yeah.
reality.
Yeah, okay, so maybe in an available reality, I'm
Mhm.
like best friends with Steve Irwin,
You,
and we like
Steve
hunted.
Irwin,
Yeah,
he's dead, though.
I know.
That's out of the possibility of your available realities, though. In this cube, Steve Irwin's dead. So, like, his kids, go for it. His wife, go for it. You can do that. But he's dead. Now, can you talk to him in your dreams? Yeah, fuck yeah. This is weird, but I've had multiple encounters with Morgan Freeman in my dreams. And I met someone. literally, literally,
Dude.
literally, the first show I ever played doing bass stuff with Soulcat, I had a dream that I'm like late for this show and I'm like scrambling to the show. It ends up being in my like high school auditorium, and I was like, fuck, it's here. And then I'm like, and then I hear like, and I was like, fuck, they're already on. And it was like, no, that's just Jan sound checking. Like my buddy just noodles.
Yeah.
He's great, but he noodles. You know you do. And then I remember in my dream, Johnny, my bandmate now, who was in that band too.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, no, you're on time. It's all good. You know, he was like, here, you want to take a shot with me? And I was like, in my dream, I was like, yes. And I'm at a bar, you know?
After the shot?
After the shot, in my dream, I'm at a bar. And I'm like, what the fuck happened? And then I look up, and it's Morgan Freeman. and he was like, hey, man, you okay? And I'm literally like, Morgan, what are you doing here?
Morgan.
I know. Like, we're acquaintances, you know, and I'm like, Morgan, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, and by the way, my first ever show was opening up for a band called the Young Rapscallions, I
The
think.
Young Rapscallions.
Which is literally McLovin's band, like Freddie Muntzplatz, I think.
Oh, from Superbad?
Yeah, he has a band called that.
Yeah.
And we were opening for them. So my first ever show was opening for McLovin's actual band.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Yes. And I was like, man, what are the chances, you know? And because I was like, I just moved here and everybody loves Superbad, you know?
Yeah. Who doesn't?
But anyway, yeah, I just remember like looking up and I was like, Morgan, what are you doing here? And he was like, I play bass in McLovin's band. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, you know, didn't know I'd be here. And I was like, me neither. And he was like, you don't remember anything? And I was like, no, I don't. And he was like, oof. He was like, you better have a seat. And I was like, really? It's that bad? And I just remember, you know, Morgan Freeman pulling out his phone in my dream and being like, all right, let's pulling up YouTube and being like, drunk ass bass player. And he was like, check it out. And it's like me. And I'm just like, in my dream, I'm like, oh, that's bad. You know, I'm doing life review in my dream of this performance the night before my first ever performance. And I'm literally like, oh, that's terrible. And then he goes, no, it gets worse. And then he's like, it's like drunk ass bass player tells jokes, which then became a thing. Like in Soulcat, I would just start telling jokes because it would drive the lead singer insane. And I was like, yes, you know, it was funny. And man, so I'm like watching my drunk ass tell jokes. And I'm like, oh, that's not bad. And he was like, it gets worse. And then it's like a video that's something like, what the fuck did I just see? And it's literally me on the back of this big black horse. And I've got my bass, and there's like pyro all of a sudden, and I'm just on a horse, and it's like, and I'm like, like I'm shredding, and everyone's just like, whoa, and I don't understand any of it, you know, and I wake up right after that, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, oh, the show's tonight, oh God, and then I had another dream with Morgan Freeman in it, and in my dream, I'm like in my living room smoking weed, and my friends are with me, you know, and it's like totally normal. And then I'm like, guys, you know who's underrated is Morgan Freeman. I know he's like huge, but he's underrated. He's great. And I was like, what's your favorite movie? And my friend was like, Driving Miss Daisy. And I was like, that's not a bad one. And my other friend was like, Shawshank for sure. And I was like, good call. And then, you know, I was like, I love this movie. And then I just like remember like turning to my left and being like, Morgan. like, Morgan, which one's your favorite? And he was like, I was like, is it the bucket list? And he was like, man, fuck the motherfucking bucket list. And I just woke up and I was like, what the fuck, you know? And then a couple years later, I don't meet Morgan Freeman, but there's these brothers in town, and they're the Malden Brothers, and they're like a country music duo. They're twin brothers, and they're like famous for like playing Regis and Kathy and stuff, and just all over. But they grew up in Mississippi, where Morgan Freeman lives. Mm-hmm. He is a close family friend of theirs, and I met them, and I told them all of this shit, like all of it, before I knew at all that literally Morgan Freeman is their godfather, straight up, like their grandma's best friend, like in that town. And they were like, dude, this is gonna fucking like, oh my God. They were just like, man, you've got to go meet him. And I was like, I know, clearly. No, but they were like, because literally everything you said is so true. Morgan cusses like a sailor. Nobody knows, but he does. And then they were like, he smokes so much weed, man. And I was like, really? And he was like, yeah. They were like, of course. And then the last part was like, also, he hated more than any other movie the fucking bucket list.
Wow, dude.
And they were like, you've got to go tell him all this shit. And I was like, I do need to.
Wow.
We're still working on that. But
7
I'm
degrees
saying,
of Morgan Freeman.
Dude, the degrees are short. And that's what I mean, though. In my available reality, I can still meet Morgan Freeman. Like, and that's where I'm saying there's like a way to do that, I think, maybe, which is like really hard to conceive just in most conversations, which is quickly. There's a guy named Neville Goddard that kind of like coined this approach, but he was like a pastor who then was like, wait a second, what is all this thy will be done shit when there's all this my will be done evidence here? Oh, you know? So then basically he like sort of set up this protocol of like, okay, we are the cube, but the cube wishes to be all this shit that's available. How do we do this? Well, we have to create coherence. Okay, so he was saying, and I'm saying I've done this stuff a few times to the point where I'm like, whoa, okay. But you basically, like, you as you right now, you, like, turn deja vu onto yourself. You go, I write me now, wish to be here. And you don't think about, like if your dream was the coffee cup or something, you dream about, like, literally I've already had the coffee and I'm satisfied. Coffee's gone. You like you envision beyond whatever the goal is.
Yeah.
And that's where you essentially are creating a timeline coherence of within the scope of reality, which you can literally be like, okay, that person's dead. I can't do that one. That person's blip, blip, blip. Like, they're just shifting into other places. They're fine.
Yeah.
But, like, they're not in this particular game anymore. So anyway, you go, me right here wishes to be me right there. So then you go, okay, me right here, call out to me right there. And then you both go, hey, I see you. Thank you for getting me here. And then I'm over here going, I got you, don't worry about it. And then you go one step further and you go into the past and you locate this version of you that like set you up to be doing this shit now. And you go, thank you, younger me. We fucking did it and we're still doing it. And older us is saying high five already. So just keep going. Yeah. And you set your goals. You keep thinking. And then like literally you're like, wait a second. I am with Steve Irwin's grandchildren right now, telling them about the long journey that got me here. And it is, I think, a thing that we can do. Straight up.
Interesting.
One example.
Why would I tell his grandchildren?
One example.
I don't even know.
There was a day where I was working, and I don't know how much time y'all do this, but I'll make it quick. There was a day I was working on Deep Tropics stuff in the basement of my old apartment. And I'd been getting into kind of woo-woo world, which I think the original meaning of woo-woo just means from here to there. It just means energy transfer. So again, it's
Makes
just
sense.
electricity shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm working in my basement, and I'm having this thought where I'm like, man, I could call people. I just paint shit. I could call someone and put it on speaker, and I could talk to them, and I could connect to people. Because I suck at that. And I was like, all right, cool. Who do I need to call? And I was like, all right, my buddy Critter. And I was like, no, I'll call Critter later. And I was like, okay, Buddy Jackson, who's a friend of mine. He's an incredible artist, Nashville staple. I was like, I'll call Buddy. And then I was like, nah, yeah. I was like, my grandparents. And then I was like, okay, my buddy Trent. So I'm kind of like, all right, cool. And then I'm like, nah, fuck this. This voice in my head kind of pops up. And it's like, I literally heard it and said it at the same time. It was like, Aaron Martin needs to do what Aaron Martin needs to do today, which is paint in his fucking basement and just focus. And then I go, I'll call them tomorrow. And then this like light in my head was like, no. And I was like, they'll call me. You know? And I was like, they'll call me. So then I just kind of like, I kind of just was like, all right, this is how this works in the moment. Mm-hmm. I didn't have any like rules or anything. I was just like, all right, this is how this works. And I like sat in my basement. I envisioned like this big ball thing right here. And again, that was just what came up. Yeah. And I was like, all right. So I am thinking they'll call me into this ball out of the top of my head. Again, it was just natural to do that. And I was like, all right. I had this balloon, and it was filling up. And when it was like full of that thought to me, I was like, all right, peace the fuck out. And that's what you have to do. Because, again, your thought is doing shit. And when you set an intention, you have to fucking stop thinking about it. Because you're changing all the outcomes with your, like, expectations. That's what the fuck they're saying. Is don't expect out of your, you know, selections. Just watch it go. So anyway, I'm like, they'll call me. And then I forget about it. Because, again, you're supposed to. So I, like, struggled and did forget about it. So then the next day, I go to my office. I put the key in the door. Very first thing, my buddy Trent calls me for the first time in, like, a year and a half. And he's like, man, weirdest series of events, like, happening. And I'm literally going, no way. You know? And I pick up the phone. I'm like, Trent, I was kind of waiting on you. And he was like, what? And I was like, nothing. And I was like, yeah. So and he was like, man, weirdest shit. This happened, and this happened, and this happened, and then this happened. And I was finally just like, I gotta call Aaron. And I was like, amazing. That's weird. So I hang up with Trent. It's great. And then 20 minutes later, my grandparents call me. And I haven't talked to them in like 6 months because I love them. But we just talk about when I'm going to get married and why I don't love her enough to marry her. Yeah. So I love them, but we don't talk shit as much as we used to. But so yeah, my grandparents call me, and I'm just messing with them at this point. I'm like, yo, I was waiting on you, like literally. Here you are. And they're like, what? And I'm like, nothing. Great conversation, okay? So they hang up, and then my brain goes, all right, I'm waiting on Buddy now because it's going in reverse order. Like, I'm waiting on Buddy. And then I sat there and I waited a little bit and he didn't call. And I was like, I'm fucking this all up. So then I just went back to work. Day ends, you know, I go downstairs. I'm locking the front door and literally key slides in. Buddy Jackson calls me. And he's like been around enough for me to be like, all right, listen to what I did. And I told him, he was like, holy shit. He was like, because that same thing. It was like, I saw this, then that, then that, then that, then that. And I was like, fuck, I got to call him. And I was like, whoa. So literally, that's where, like, you know, I didn't have an expectation out of a little, like, just experiment. But the second that I knew it was an experiment moment, I was like, okay, that's what this is. Listen, you know, and just do it. And then see what happens. But that's where, like, there's feedback, you know, because my answer was Critter didn't call me today. So that's, like, where I need to call. I need to, like, make an effort to get a hold of my friend. It took me weeks, but I finally got him to answer. And we had this, like, long, awesome talk. And he was like, man, I've never just fucking fucked off anywhere. And I was like, do it. I just did that. Like, I was 30 years old when I took my first just me solo trip. And it was like an epiphany. Like, wait, I can just do that. I can just leave. What? And I did it. And I was like, holy fuck. So I'm like fresh off of this. And I'm just talking to Critter. Like, dude, you got to just leave. Just pick a fucking place and go. And he was like, all right, you know what? Good idea. And he's like, looking. He's like, how about? And I can't remember which place. But it was like literally just one of the islands that are like right on the other tip of South America, just like right there. And Critter later was like, man, I thought I was going to like fly across the world, but it was a 30-minute flight from Texas. You know? He was like, so I was just kind of right over there. But yeah, anyway, he books this thing. COVID. I finally get to play Austin, Texas again. Haven't seen Critter in 2 or 3 years. It ends up being his birthday when I'm in Austin, Texas. I get to go see my friend. I hug him. And it also ends up being the literal night before he leaves on that vacation that he booked over a year prior.
Yeah.
So I not only got to like reach out to my friend, talk to them about stuff that they were on maybe the fence about or maybe already going to do.
Yeah.
But either way, I got to be like, yo, trip's worth it. And then I got to be in the right place to like hug them right before they went on this trip, you know? Wow. And it was full circle. So that's one experiment moment. in the scheme of like, I just don't think this shit's fake anymore.
Yeah.
Stuff, you know? And literally, I talk to everyone
I have some
almost about this
experiences like that,
stuff.
too.
Everyone does. Literally. Everybody. And Ubers, I love Ubers because I ask all my Uber drivers just their weird stuff. I'm like, let's talk about it, you know? And like I'm way into just whatever it is.
Dude, I've had some, like, I've had some shit. I've had some shit
but
happen.
it's there and everybody has something, you know? And I swear, it's like the
But it's
second
like,
you
no,
start
the difference
talking
is
about
like,
it, they're
it's
like,
when you're in tune with the shit that's happening, though.
that's called being aware. That's the same shit as the leaves on the tree thing. It's like, I am aware that every leaf on every tree is moving. So in my reality, that shit is happening. I know about it. It's there. I don't have to like, you know, like the part of my brain that says, you don't need this to survive is incoherence of the part that goes, but I want it. So show me more. You know, it's like, I think that's what it is, you know, and, yeah, I don't know. I just think it's a really cool side effect of just making shit. Is just being able to like talk to people about stuff like that.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody teaches you something with every word, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like not even fake. That's just legitimately everything. Another thing is like do this experiment. It gets weird. Ask yourself, to yourself, you know, like questions, higher self, whatever you want to call it. Ask yourself shit and listen to other people straight up in coffee shops or like just at a table, wherever you're at the grocery store. Be like communicating with you, and I swear it is so weird the other people in the room that'll be like, exactly what you needed to hear, and they'll keep going, you know, or like, here's a little tidbit of what you were thinking about, goodbye, you know. It's like, that's where it gets pretty crazy. It's just the way that, you know, everyone is kind of floating around this thing, but to do the whole like walk in another person's shoes thing is actually like how you float maybe, you know, down a lazy river instead of the rapids, you know. It's like empathy. And like, I mean, really, like when you're at the gas station and someone's being a grump at the register or whatever, I'm just picking a random person, and you're like, what a jerk. Cleanse yourself by like thinking, okay, what if I was that jerk? And then just jump in and just feel your body differently. And you're like, well, you know, and then literally, I swear the first thing you'll see is like laundry on the floor, and this person hasn't called me back, and like all this human shit that is so real to everyone that you're just like, oh, whoa, same. And you don't like hate people, you know? Because it's so dumb. You're like, I literally am hating me all the time.
Yeah.
That's fucking stupid, you know? And that's also, I want to say, devoid of any of the, like, I do not like multiverse stuff for the, like, the NPC element of that conversation where people are like, you know, everything's fake, so it's all a video game in my head, and I'm the only head, and they're all fake. Holy fuck. That is not at all what I'm talking about. I'm saying, like, we are all creating this rapid release thing. Yeah. So, like, every time you think, like, what a fucker, you are, like, sending thought beams. What a fucker. And they are becoming that fucker in your reality. You know, you are making people that asshole every time we do it.
Interesting.
You know, for real.
Yeah.
Like every single time, every movie that comes out, we are creating that asshole's got the best dick through his pants in that superhero movie. I vote for him, you know, like, or that asshole's so smarmy, he should only play one role the rest of his life. Like, that's what we're doing. We're creating that for them, for us. And what do you do with that? Yeah. You know, it's like you just chill with it. You enjoy everybody. And you also acknowledge that the biggest assholes on the planet are doing their best job at what they're aware of. You know, they know only
Thanks.
one thing, which is being that asshole.
Being that asshole, yeah.
And it's okay, you know? Because I guarantee any of those assholes has, like, been like, oh my God, what's this bump on my asshole? Is it cancerous? Or, like, you know, like, oh, I'm breathing heavy. What the fuck? You know, like, all of those people have done that. Or, like, oh, I almost shit a little. Like, every single person. Every person.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Like, yeah. I feel like, yeah, we'll end this here, I guess.
Cool.
I'm gonna have to definitely talk to you off of the episode because there's a lot more shit we could talk about with this, but I know we gotta get going. I don't know how.
88.
What is this?
88.
It's been
88.
like 2 hours of deep thought.
It's good for you. It's
Great
good for me.
Hopefully, yeah, I feel like a lot of people when they hear this one, they're gonna go into a lot of deep thought about shit.
Bring it on.
I got a lot of friends who think on this tip.
Well, let's
They
get
don't
a
like
group
this.
together.
Yeah, we should do another. We should do a specific
A weirdo group.
episode, yes, about this kind
Yeah.
of shit.
Let's just, yeah.
You even said, I remember you saying I should do some shit like that with the whole like astrology and shit and all that spiritual shit. Like we should just have something really fucking in depth, dude. That would be fucking awesome.
It'd be funny, like, yeah. I can't wait. I would love to do that.
Yeah.
Just to, like, take notes to myself of, they say chakras. They say chakras. You know?
Yes.
The chakras. And who, like, won't correct the other person. That's, like, what I live for.
Yeah. I feel like there was a lot of information in this.
Yeah.
that got
Cool.
there. We got, yeah.
Yeah.
It just
hell
free
yeah.
flowed.
All right.
Yeah.
I've had a great time.
Deep
Thanks.
Tropics.
Yeah.
So
I've had a
great.
great time, too.
Thank
Soul
you.
Cat.
This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
Okey Dokey.
Aaron Martin.
This is fucking great.
Yeah, I had a wonderful time.
Yeah, guys. Hey,
88.
88.
88.
Magical number.
Juju 88.
You know what's going on. He's smiling like the wind boy over there.
That's true.
Yeah, smiling like the wind boy. And it's a dude superb.
Oh, Tom.
And y'all know what this is. It's MC2MC. And Aaron's definitely going to be back. We're going to do another one.
Fuck
We're
yeah.
going to do another one.
All right.
And yeah, love you guys. See y'all on the next episode.
Love you, mean it.